Hey, welcome to Time in Johnstown. Hey, what you see here is I've got a Utica boiler, oil-fired boiler with a reillo burner that I've got to clean. Now, I haven't seen this this boiler to service it since they've been doing business with us. They've just been buying oil, and I don't know who's doing the service work, if anybody. But there's several things wrong with this system that I'm going to kind of talk about. But as you saw there just briefly, I didn't leave a lot of it in. You take it apart at the top, go in there with a brush, vacuum it out. The vacuum kind of controls the dust, brush it all out, and then you pull the cover on the Utica here, and you can open this swing out door to access that. And you'll see I put a snorkel on the end of the hose, I believe, and go in there and vacuum it out. All modern boilers usually come open like this. They have a door. Some are bigger than others. I'm also checking in there, looking at the combustion chamber to make sure that's in good shape. And here I am vacuuming it out with a snorkel. Like I say, all modern boilers have that access. Years ago, the older boilers, you had to pull the burner out to do that. So here I got the smoke pipe on the top. When I got there, they had two 6-inch elbows at right angles to each other, and they were pretty rusted up. I couldn't do anything with them. The pipe wasn't straight. So actually you had more than a 90-degree angle there, or two 90s together, for the exhaust to get out through the pipe. So what I did, I went out and got two 6-inch elbows, and I twisted them around, made kind of like 45s out of it, maybe a little bit less. And I put them up into the bottom of the chimney, and and I fit the lower pipe to it, and I cut it off. And this way too, it'll come apart easier. Sometimes you can use a drawband collar, which works pretty good. Some of them people go straight up into the chimney. I don't like to. If I'm setting up that boiler there, I would set it offset it further. I'd put a T where it's straight up through, and go into the leg of the T with an L, and then put a cap in the bottom like a drip leg type thing. All right, this is a reillo burner. In order to access the nozzle, you got to pull the primary control off, and then there's another small cover. And the nice part about this reillo is you can do it all with a Phillips screwdriver. On the newer reillos, they're using Torx bits, I think a number 20 and a number 25 you got to have to access it. You can still do it with a straight blade, but you can't use the Phillips anymore on most of the screws. One of them, I think, is still a Phillips, one or two. So, which kind of makes that, a pain in the neck. But this boiler is a 4-section boiler. This is way oversized for what that house, the size of the house. A 3-section boiler would have been fine, but this boiler here, this Utica boiler, they're a good boiler, but this one is, I think, a 4150 or 4175, the model number. So it came through with 1.25 gallons per hour nozzle into it, which that's its maximum fire rate. It's 175,000 BTU input. Now, this is probably a 2,000 square foot house, modular, pretty well insulated on a slab, and it's fed with 1-inch pipe. Now here I'm showing the nozzle. I downfired it to 1 gallon per hour. Reillo burners are at 140 psi. So that's over the 1.25 gallons, or it's even over the 1 gallon. We probably could have got away with a 0.85, but this is the first time I've seen this. And at the end, I do a combustion check, but I couldn't video it because I was making this video with my phone, and my combustion analyzer uses a program or an app on the phone to get the readings from it. So, but I did set it, the CO2 and everything, according to what reillo recommends. Stack temperature was a little high, but again, with a 1-inch pipe, it probably would be a 0.85 would even be enough, to heat this home. There's a few things you might have seen earlier, or maybe you'll see it later. 4-section boiler, you're supposed to use a 60 expansion tank. There's only a 30. That number 30 is hanging on a piece of 1/2-inch pipe out of a T, and even that 30 gets heavy when it gets full of water. If that gets waterlogged, there's a chance it could snap that pipe right off. Not only that, the circulator is they got the motor straight up and down, which you're supposed to have the motor horizontally. It'll prematurely wear the motor, but these are all things that I've got to address with a homeowner at a later date. But and we'll see if he wants to change some things. So I've got the nozzle back in. I'm just putting the cover back on the Aquastat. And I go ahead and set the cover on there, but I probably shouldn't have, because I'm going to end up taking it back off anyway, because I want to kind of peek in at the fire after I start it up. And but Utica boilers, I love them. For a lot of reasons. I did start to put in a few Weil McLean's, only because they come apart easier to get them in the cellar in pieces and then put it back together. And I'd like to make a video of that sometime. All right, I got to change this oil filter. I use the oil absorbent pads, put them on the floor, and to catch the oil. I've got an old metal camping dish that I use to put underneath there. You'll see it, and a furnace cement bucket I use for to put the oil in the old filters in. I like to use a 5/8 ratchet wrench. Seems to work pretty easy for me, and. But this filter hasn't been changed in a while. It is pretty nasty. There's a lot of stuff in the bottom. So I'm going to go ahead. I get that changed and get the new filter in there and fire it up. So anyway, I'm going to return it back to the sound track of the video. I wanted to do this voiceover just to explain a few things, and hopefully you'll see this through to the end. And if you like it, hit the like button, the thumbs up, and hit the subscribe button while you're at it. So, and thanks for watching, and stick it out to the end. Yeah, apparently this hasn't been changed in years. Yeah, this hasn't been changed in a long time. line. You can't carry that kind of heat away from this. So this thing was running and running and running. I cut it back to a gallon, 60. And we're going to watch the thermometer here to see how hot it gets. And that expansion tank is not large enough for this boiler. This boiler should have a number 60 on it because this is a 4-section Utica. So I don't know where the cover is. Oh, the cover's over here for the reillo burner. But it wasn't on when I got here. I think I'm going to set it back on there. I don't see any leaks. New filter, new nozzle. We cleaned it out. I did replace that pipe up there because I wanted the exhaust to go out. You know, it was this vertical pipe was tipped to the side and it went out, and then a sharp 90. So 2 sharp 90s actually. So now you get better flow of the draft out the chimney. It was a short chimney. But the boiler was pretty clean. I'm assuming that's kind of because that boiler is staying hot all the time, but it does maintain temperature for a coil. They probably had city water here, I believe, so it's probably not too bad. There's some leakage around there, but I'll talk to the homeowner later, and we'll if he wants to address that. Tank is in good shape, and it's heating and running good and burning clean. So. Well, if you enjoyed it, hit the like, the share, and the subscribe button. Thanks. All right, we just left that Utica boiler cleaning. A couple of things I wanted to mention. That is a confined space, so it's a very small room. So, but there is a big vent in the wall there, so it's got a good source of fresh air. Tank's in good shape, but as you can see, that filter was crappy. But they got that. Somebody's come in there. They've done shark bites. They've got that number 30 expansion tank on a boiler that requires a 60. It's hanging on a 3/4 inch piece of thread that sticks out there about a foot. If those tanks, if they get waterlogged, they get heavy, so that could snap that right off. So that should be wired up. And I'm going to mention this to them that there is some things that should be changed. That circulator is wrong. It should be horizontal, not straight up and down like that. That's not good for the motors on those. Other than that, it's running, it's heating, burning clean. So if you enjoyed this, hit the like button, and if you made it this far in the video, and subscribe if you'd like. It's free, won't cost you nothing. So hey, you guys have a great day. Bye bye.